Full time from the Emirates Stadium in my match review. Arsenal 3, Newcastle United 0. What's changed? What has changed? Steve Bruce, he's going to take the gloves off. I'm going to do things my way. Well, I tell you what, mate, nothing's working for you. Talking about gloves, we barely laid a glove on Arsenal in that game. We barely laid a glove on them. Arsenal, by the way, fully deserved to win the game. They really did. They could have won by more than 3-0 on the night if it wasn't for Caldalo, as I say in many videos. We just look absolutely clueless. We look toothless up front. We're lack of ideas. The players don't even have an understanding. They don't have a clue what they're doing. If it's not for Caldalo in the defence at times, keep winning matches, then we'll lose by more than like 3 goals most games. We don't even look like drawing a game, let alone winning a game. We don't even look like stringing 2 passes together. We'll struggle. We'll give the ball away. And that was all too often in the game. I mean, Steve Bruce went 4 at the back, granted. But why is it taken from to lose to Sheffield United to go 4 at the back? Yet the players still look clueless. It's all down to Steve Bruce's coaching. It's all down to his tactics, because there is no tactics, there's no there. The players are devoid of confidence. And it was all too common in the game. Nothing that I haven't seen before. First half, I think Arsenal, were the better side, without really creating too much. I thought that Darlow made some great saves. The defence looked solid. Trying to break forward with Jamal Lewis. But I think the midfield let we're down. Shelvey giving the ball away. Matty, not brilliant. Andy Carroll and Wilson, when you're just, passing aimless balls into them or balls over the top, they're not going to win it. Especially when you've got the likes of David Luiz, marking you up. And Arsenal were clearing the lines because it was too easy for them. And that's what happened. And we didn't really lay a glove on Arsenal. Steve Bruce talks about, I'm going to take the gloves off. We barely laid a glove on Arsenal in the full game. I'm going to do things my way. Well, whatever the tactics were, Steve Bruce, just didn't work. Hashtag Steve Bruce out. Hashtag Steve Bruce out. Not good enough. He's not good enough for Newcastle United, let alone the Premier League. He shouldn't be anywhere near this league. He's finished. He should be in the Championship or in League One. That's the way I see it, and nothing's going to change. And the board, are still giving him the vote of confidence. The vote of confidence. We haven't won in 9 games. Let that sink in, Mike Ashley, Lee Charnley. No win in 9 games in all competitions. That's a sackable offence. Why didn't you get rid of him after Sheffield United? And I'm still raging after that game. Because Sheffield United, they're not a good side. We make any side look amazing. Arsenal, right, drew 0-0 with Crystal Palace. And they're meant to be a mid-table club. And yet people call us a mid-table club. Well, we can't be a mid-table club if we can't compete with Arsenal. I get it, they've got quality. But if Crystal Palace, who, by the way, we beat them 2-0, if we can't compete with Arsenal like Crystal Palace did, then for me, we should be in the bottom 3. You take Callum Wilson's goals away, we are bottom 3. I mean, Jeff Hendrick is my second highest goal scorer. Oh, and by the way, don't even get me started with the substitutions. Bringing off, Matty Longstaff for Jeff Hendrick at the end, that's an insult. When you're already losing the game, you bring on Jeff Hendrick. Oh, man, honestly, Steve Bruce, he has to go. Has to go, man. I'm sick of the excuses. I can't wait to hear his excuses at the end of this game because he's got none. Second half, we just crumbled. Honestly, we did. We crumbled. We had no response. The second half, you're thinking, right, it's 0-0. Let's be brave. Let's get at Arsenal. Let's cause them problems. We've got Wilson. We've got Carroll. We've got Shelvey on the pitch. We've got players that can actually turn a game. I've seen it happen. I've seen players, in our side from nowhere change a game in second half. The minute that first goal went in through Aubameyang, game over. It really was. The game was done in the first 15 minutes of that second half. On the 60th minute, when they went 2-0 up, game was done. Well, if I'm being nice, because let's be honest, the game was done on 50 minutes when Aubameyang scored. But listen, it's just the goals that Arsenal scored. Yes, Aubameyang scored a very good goal. And you could say the same for his second goal, which got them that 3-0 win. But I think all 3 goals were preventable. Just not marking your men and just not getting close enough. I just don't know where to start with this game in terms of, what was Steve Bruce going out for? I thought the back, I get it. You should attack sides. But with 4 at the back, we never looked any better than what we've done playing 5 at the back. I honestly believe we need a new manager. We really do. And there's been talk of Mark Hughes. I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't particularly like the guy. I don't particularly like his football at times, but he can't be any worse than Steve Bruce. Nigel Pearson, I'd take him on a short-term loan until the end of the season if a takeover goes through. Anyone better than Steve Bruce? Because right now, we just look so toothless. We really do. First half, well, let's look at the starting lineup. So you went Carl Darlow, the back four, Emil Kraft. For me, where's Manquillo? Kraft had a poor game. Lascelles wasn't great either. He looked a bit off. And Clark was also our other centre-back. He could have went Shaw rather than, Lascelles. But I guess if Fernandez has picked up, that injury from Sheffield United, fair enough. And then he went with Lewis at left-back, fair enough. But then you've got to question the rest of it, like Joe Linton. Why is Joe Linton even starting games? You've got him out wide. He's absolutely awful. I mean, I'd rather have started Jacob Murphy rather than Joe Linton. Joe Linton offers absolutely nothing. He's got no pace. For me, he's not even a Premier League footballer. Midfield, Matty Longstaff. Yeah, fair enough. John Joe Shelby over Isaac Hayden, really? I can only think that Hayden's a bit fatigued due to the amount of games that he's had to play, but Hayden, is our best midfielder. He's the first name on the team sheet. Yet he's on the bench. Baffled beyond belief. Almiron, I didn't want to start him today, but, he played him out wide. Why? Put him in the number 10 then. If you're going to go 4-4-2, play him in the middle. I'd rather that than Shelby. I'd rather Almiron than Shelby. And then the two up front, Andy Carroll and Wilson. Where's Dwight Gale? Like, what's going on with him? Wilson's a no-brainer, but, you're looking at the side, it's still questionable, like Joe Linton, as mentioned. Lascelles. I didn't have any hope before the game, but when I'm looking at the lineup, I'm thinking, right, okay, 4 at the back, fine. But looking at the sort of the middle part up front, it was always going to be a long night. And Arsenal, listen, they had chances. Darlow had to make a few decent saves. Aubameyang, for me, should score. When the ball goes across, Darlow makes a save with his legs and it falls kindly to Aubameyang and somehow he hits the post and we'll get away with one. And Arsenal do come close as well towards the end where Darlow has to make a save. But first half, I didn't think we really batted a glove on Arsenal. And that's where I mentioned this whole thing. And that Steve Bruce said in the press conference before the game, I'm going to take my gloves off and whatnot. We didn't lay a glove on them. That, for me, playing even 2 up front, not good enough. Arsenal, by the way, they're nothing special. They're mid-table, and they're mid-table for a reason because they haven't been good enough. And we've made them look amazing tonight. No question Arsenal can't get into the top 6. I'm not saying that. But if you look at how they've played so far to this point, we make clubs look fantastic because they're so badly coached. They really are by Steve Bruce and his backroom staff. They're not good enough for this level. And second half comes around, no changes are made. I mean, it's basics in football. If you want to go for a game, you bring on your better players a little bit earlier. For example, Jacob Murphy for Joe Linton. Why is that not happening? Why is he leaving it till the last minute when the game's already done? Carroll didn't really do a great deal. Why can't you change it? Do you know what I mean? But anyway, second half kicks off and Arsenal, they attack from the very get-go, don't they? We don't really have an answer. And Aubameyang scores. Partey picks him out on the left-hand side. He just drives towards Emil Kraft. And Emil Kraft, for me, he's got to get there quicker. He's got to pull in the challenge. And it's Coswin, and he's put it beyond Darlow. Bottom left-hand corner, 1-0 Arsenal. And I have to say, they fully deserve to take the lead. But then it just gets worse for us when they score on the 60th minute. And it's 2-0 to Arsenal. And it's a goal by Saka. And again, it's Aubameyang on the left-hand side. We're struggling on that left-hand side. He feeds a ball into Smith Rowe. He then runs towards the box. He squares it across to Saka and he has a free hit inside the box. No one's picking him up. Lascelles, for me, should get there quicker. He's to blame. And it goes beyond Darlow. He's got no chance. And it's 2-0 Arsenal. Game over. Whatever Steve Bruce said to them at half-time just didn't work. And that's where you make the changes. 5 minutes too late, 65th minute, to make his first sub. And that was Jacob Murphy for Andy Carroll. For me, I would have made that at half-time. You know what I mean? You're 0-0. There's a chance that you could get something. Too late. We're 2-0 down. And then later on, he brings on Jeff Hendrick for Matty Longstaff. And that's when we're like 3-0 down and the game's up. And it's another goal by Aubameyang. Now, for me, who's picking up Cedric? Cedric on that right-hand side, he runs down towards the byline, and then he basically he crosses it, or sort of squares it across to Aubameyang, who's got the acres of space in the box, and he just slots it beyond Darlow. There's question marks whether or not that was, out of play, but for me, it didn't really matter. We were 2-0 down. We're just chasing shadows. We're chasing the game, and we're not going to get a goal. It's as simple as that. And Arsenal, to their credit, for how well they played second half, they took that goal, and Aubameyang scored his second of the night. And it was all Arsenal for the rest of the game, in my opinion. I mean, Jeff Hendrick. I mean, who brings on Jeff Hendrick? He's absolutely shite. He's not even a Premier League footballer. And yet, that's an absolute insult to all Newcastle fans. You go 2 or 3-0 down, and then you bring on Jeff Hendrick. This is what I mean when you've got a manager in Steve Bruce, the absolute dinosaur. The gift that keeps on giving every single week. And he's going to come out in his press conference and no doubt say, well, we gave away some sloppy goals. Oh, we tried. I tell you what, I've seen nothing. I think we've had one shot on target all game. And let's be fair, it was feeble. We've not even batted a glove on Arsenal. He talks about that and he talks about doing things his way. Well, I tell you what it is, mate. You've gone 4-4-2 and it's not working. So whatever you're trying to do, the players are not playing for you. And I'm sick of people saying that, the players are playing for him. They're not playing for him. Because how can you go from a second half, capitulation to how decent-ish we were sort of first half? We can't even kick on in games. Do you know what I mean? The game, from a Newcastle fan's point of view, was an absolute shit show. But for Arsenal, hey, listen, you've won the game to a T. You've done exactly what Arteta wanted you to do. And I knew you would respond after the 0-0 draw against Crystal Palace, because you couldn't have drawn 2 0-0s against Crystal Palace and Newcastle. But it's Newcastle. I mean, we got beat off Sheffield United. I mean, I wonder where our next win's coming from. I really do. And, there's talk of Mark Hughes and there's talk of Nigel Pearson and Eddie Howe. Bring any of these managers in, even Mark Hughes to this point. I don't particularly like Mark Hughes in terms of his style of play. I like the bloke, but he can't be any worse than Steve Bruce. No manager right now can be any worse than Steve Bruce. Something has to give now with this board, because it's not good enough. It's simply not good enough. No win in 9 games. And I could shout and scream, but it's too late. No win in 9 games, Ashley and Charnley. Let that sink in. And if you think we're going to get wins against Aston Villa, Leeds and Everton, you're badly mistaken, because we're not. It's simply not acceptable. And if you want to repeat of 2015, 2016, you go ahead and keep Steve Bruce. But if you want your takeover, if you want your value for this football club, then do the right thing and get rid of Steve Bruce before it's too late. Because right now, he's not the answer of moving this football club forward. And again, I have to feel sorry for Callum Wilson, because the service is just poor. He's had nothing to work with all evening. You could say the same for Carroll. There's just nothing there. The midfield's shocking. John Joe Shelvey, what does he bring to the side anymore? He's just not the same player. Just Gans missing. Matty was... Yeah, I mean, listen, he didn't have a good game, but that's one bad game in so many. But Shelvey, he's meant to be one of our better midfielders. Joe Linton, what does he bring to the side? He's useless. Honestly, this guy, he just can't hold up a ball. He's too weak. He's got a shot of a 5-year-old. What more can I say about Joe Linton? Not worth 40 million quid. Not even worth 5 million quid at this moment in time. And then I'm looking elsewhere, around the side. Just not good enough. At the back as well, after the first half, how decent we played, to collapse like that. But I think that's all down to how bad we played in that midfield second half, just giving the ball away. But it happened all too often in the game. It wasn't just our second half crumble. We did it in the first half, but we got away with it. But you can only do that for so long in games before, clubs like Arsenal with their quality will pick you off. Almiron was okay. But again, there's just next to no service. There's just nothing. I just don't understand what Steve Bruce's, tactics are anymore. I really don't. I've never known his tactics. I just hope this is his last game. I keep saying it. I hope it's his last game. I don't want to see him anymore in the press conferences. I don't like to hear him anymore. Yes, he'll say, well, he played 4-4-2. Doesn't make a difference. You've still got to have an identity. There's nothing there. I tell you what it is. Honestly, Mark Hughes, any other manager that you can think of who's out of work could set up better and get a tune out of these. They're a good bunch of lads, but are just getting badly man-managed. That's the way I look at it. And That's it. There's nothing more I can say about the game apart from Arsenal won 3-0. So, yeah, still hashtag Steve Bruce out. Nothing's going to change my mind. It doesn't matter how he goes about games from now to the end of the season, but just please, Ashley Charnley, just get rid of him before it's too late. So, yeah, if you enjoyed the review, please subscribe if you haven't already. I'm trying to get to 3,600 subscribers. We're less than 50 away now, so if you can help us out, please subscribe to this amazing channel. And we're doing a talk show on Friday as well, Toonami TV, Friday Night Live from 7 till 9, so you get to come on and talk about the Arsenal game. You can talk about the Villa game as well. But beforehand, there will be the match preview on Thursday for Aston Villa, so make sure you stay tuned for that. Turn on the notification bell so you never miss a video from yourself. And make sure you put your comments down below what you made of that game, the formation, the first half, second half. Just utter shit. It really is. Nothing's going to change in my opinion. So, yeah, follow me on social media, Toonami TV, Instagram and Twitter. And in the meantime, keep yourself safe out there and how are the lads.